Hello, everybody. It is I, Katie Morton, Editor-in-Chief of Search Engine Journal, and I'm here today with Morty Oberstein, who is the founder of Unify Brand Marketing. So, Morty, what are we going to talk about today?
So last time we spoke about what brand marketing is fundamentally and how to approach it. Today I'm going to talk about how to actually develop a brand and like run through. I'm going to try jargon-free. We're going to try jargon-free. We'll probably get to some jargon about what brand development actually looks like and what the stages are, how they should all flow one into the other one.
That sounds great. Okay, so what's the first concept?
This is where I think brands get really messed up. This is where if you feel like you've lost traction, if you feel like I don't have any direction, if you feel like we're all over whatever it is, most problems come down to this issue, which is, I'm not going to say the jargon word, but it comes down to, who are you? And this is kind of where you're doing therapy for your brand. You're trying to figure out who you are in a real deep way. It's kind of what we talked about last time about building some meaning for yourself. But you need to think about, like, who are you? Where do you want to be? How do you want to be seen? How are you seen? How do you want to be seen going forward? And this is a part where it gets a little bit scary. Like, I'm going to ask you, like, what scares you? Because this is where brands kind of feel like maybe we're going to pigeonhole ourselves, but you're not. I'm not going to use the identity word. I said identity. I used jargon. Darn it. This is where you kind of feel like maybe we're going to pigeonhole ourselves if we have too much of like a pigeonhole kind of audience because we're only this. Don't. It's scary, but you have to do it. And this is where brands get off the rails. You have to understand who you are in a real way, because who you are rolls right into who you're for. Like, so if, I don't know, if I was going to go out on I was dating my wife back in the day. If my wife didn't like sports at all, like, I'd be like, oh, like, my wife's not for me. I'm a sports nut, which is not true. Like, that's not how dating actually works. But knowing who you are rolls right into who are you for, who is naturally interested in you. So once you know who you are, the next step is who's actually interested in you, which is what we like to use a jargony-ish kind of word. Who's your core audience? And who your core audience is a direct outcome of who you are, which is why who you are is super important. Okay. So the next stage in brand development, once you know who you are and who you're for now, which doesn't mean that you have to be specifically just for them, but that's your core, then what problems does that audience have? What are they doing? What I mean by problems, I don't mean USPs, which I know is a jargon word, but I'm going to use the jargon so we know what we're talking about. I'm not talking about pain points. I'm talking about what's going on in their lives as it generally relates to your product or service. Like, the example I always give is minivans. I don't know why I use minivans, but if I was making minivans, I would want to know, like, what's the context, what's the life situation of the parent or the guardian or the whoever who's driving and schlepping these kids around. What's happening in their lives around the product. So it's not a pain point. It's not a USP. It's what's happening as a general context in the life of your audience as it sort of kind of relates to, generally speaking, about the product, service, whatever you do. Great. Now that you know that, the next step in brand development is, how do you fit those needs? This is where your USP stuff kind of comes in. Right? And by the way, everything here should align from who you are to your audience, to what their problems are, to how do you, because you know who you are now, obviously, how do you fit those needs? What do you do because of who you are? Put it this way, because of who you are, how do you now solve those problems that your audience or people or consumers are dealing with in their lives? Now, once you know that, stage 5 would be, how do you actually communicate that? Or rather, what's important about that to communicate? So we know who we are. We know now who we're for. We now know what the problems, what the life situation is of the people who we're for. And we know how we solve and deal with those situations with who we are as a product, as a service, as an offering. What's important to tell the audience about who we are and how we solve their problems? Don't try to refine it here. Don't try to have it, snappy and snippy. No, nothing catchy, no taglines, just what's important conceptually as a framework to communicate to your audience. And the last step is, okay, now refine that. And just know it's not going to come in one shot. It's going to take multiple iterations to do it. It's not going to be perfect. You should never expect it to be perfect. You'll never be 100% happy with it. And it's better that it's honest and genuine than it is perfect. And if we want to zoom out and now use the jargon, we just ran through creating brand identity, using the brand identity to define the target audience, understanding the needs of the target audience, positioning our offering because of who we are for the target audience, like how do we slide into their life context, and then develop messaging, which the first stage of that is what's actually the main themes that you want to communicate, and then refining it from there. We just ran through all of brand development in 3 minutes.
I like it. It's like
no jargon. I almost got through it.
Almost, but I think that's all right. It speaks to our audience probably to use a little bit of jargon in there. And speaking of that, I'm sure a lot of people you talk to and a lot of people in the search engine journal universe are SaaS, software as a service. And so I like the minivan example because it's easy to wrap your head around. It's like, okay, that's an obvious life circumstance. You just say that word and it's like, okay, probably married, probably a bunch of kids, probably toting them around to different. It just you say one word and it paints this whole picture. With SaaS, it's so different. And I what would be a thought exercise to go through this? If you let's invent a software that's I don't know, a rabbit food feeding timer.
Okay. A set that feeds your rabbit on a timer. So first off,
maybe something that's less life oriented, right? Think about our universe, which is really kind of abstract, right? In terms of people's day to day, and they're really using software probably in a professional sense and probably not in their home life for the most part. Let's say a marketing software or, ads like PPC.
I consult for a marketing software. So I'm not going to use a marketing because I'm biased. So yeah. I'm going to, I use, a video editor, SaaS tool.
Uh-huh.
Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
All right, cool. I haven't used CapCut, by the way. No plug for CapCut. That's what I have in my mind. Yeah. I don't get paid by CapCut, so I can say that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so first of all, in all of this, the most important thing, this is where brands get everything. It's not one stage and you go from stage 1, which is brand identity, to messaging refinement, which is I have stage 6. It's not, don't think of it as a line. I did one and now I go to the next one and then I go to the next one. Think of it like you're stacking a building. You're building a building. So the foundation is a brand identity. And then you build the next floor, the next floor, the next, and the top floor is, the roof is the refinement that everybody can see from the helicopter. But that they're not, if you imagine they're in a helicopter looking down on this roof, they can't see all of the other layers, but you can. And you have to start with brand identity. You have to, and this is particularly for a SaaS tool, because SaaS, it's really hard to get stuck in being a utility. We're just a utility. The problem with being a utility is there's no actual connection. And as soon as somebody else finds another one that's better, cheaper, or whatever, they'll move. There's no loyalty, which is literally what I did with I used another tool. I found it a little bit cumbersome. The pricing wasn't super clear, so I moved to this one. Now, I don't love this one, by the way. If something else came along, I would totally move to the other one, because there's CapCut. You're getting a free brand audit, I guess. They're not a client of yours, are they?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. There's no identity. I don't know what separates CapCut from the other one I was using, which I totally, at this point, forgot the name of completely. I don't use Camtasia anymore, only because I have an old license. I don't want to pay for a new one. So if I'm going to pay for a new one, I find it a little bit cumbersome. I have no actual loyalty to any of these platforms because I don't know who they are and what makes them different. You know why I don't know who they are and makes them different? Because they don't know who they are.
Right. So if they worked on connecting with you as a brand and developed that emotional bond, you would be more likely to stick with them, even if something better came out with better features. Yeah. You would be more reluctant to just.
Because it would be more for me, right? So they have to ask themselves, and I can't do this for them, and I can't even do it off the cuff. I don't even know anything about it other than the tool. I haven't really seen into the market. Someone recommended it to me, and I use it.
Right.
They have to figure out why they're doing this. You have to figure out, why are you doing this? Why do you want to do this outside of making money? Why do you find this meaningful? Oh, because let's just say because we are really into the idea of being able to do X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay. CapCut, you really into the idea of I don't know, but let's just say like their big thing is like, because I use this part of their tool, so I like it. They automatically remove my background and implement a new one. We're all about like people who don't have a professional setup feeling like they have a professional setup. Like that was that's just really important because we see like the value in that. We want to democratize video content, blah 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 blah. Like that would be like an actual brand identity. Great. So now I know who I'm for. I'm not for a professional like, I don't know, I'm a big brand. I have a whole studio. I'm Coca-Cola. I have a whole in-house studio on site.
Right.
I'm for this audience. Now, what are their problems and what's going on with them and what's happening with them, right? So now it's kind of easier to see. Right?
Well, then it's like
I really want to create professional level content, but I don't have the skills to do it. But I'm also not an idiot either. So I kind of know what it's supposed to look like. I kind of know what it's supposed to be. I don't have the time. I don't have the technical know-how. I don't want to pay anybody to do it. These are my problems.
So it's like
how do you come in and solve that?
Right. So like the entire market proposition is tied into
But that only happens. They only realize to talk to me about my problems and how they solve my problems once they figure out who they were first.
Right on. Yeah.
But everybody thinks that's that. Everyone goes right to the roof because that's the only thing you can see.
That's fascinating, Morty. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Brick by brick. You got to stack it up before you get to the helicopter view. Gotcha.
You can't. It'll all come crumbling down at a certain point. The messaging won't work. It'll all fall apart.
Well,
that sounds really doomsday-ish.
It does. But I do think that I will be checking out CapCut's branding to see what are they doing over there. I don't know.
I don't even know.
Don't know. All I know is their little logo that I see frequently at the end of some of my favorite creators. So,
see, there you go. So that's good branding. It's great branding, but nothing.
Right, exactly. Nothing. Well, Morty, this has been very enlightening, and I want to thank you for coming on and sharing with me today. What's next?
Oh, we're going to shout brand from the rooftops. That was so, oh my gosh, that was like a dad joke. Next time we're going to dive deeper into stage one, which is building brand identity, what that actually looks like and how you do it.
That'd be fantastic. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and check us out, searchenginejournal.com. Morty, what's your,
oh, I should know this. Good branding. Unify Brand Marketing.com.
Awesome. All right. See you next time, everybody.
Bye.